When my body was hastily cremated, my cousin was holding a banquet to celebrate his high school entrance. My parents were beaming, and my older sister and girlfriend were both congratulating him. A few days earlier, I had been in a car accident and was critically injured. They seized the opportunity to change my name and grades to my cousin's, and they didn't even look at me until I died. But I was their biological son. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day my cousin first came to our house. This life, I don't want any of that biased love. Xiaoning, come meet your cousin, Fong Chun. My dad introduced him to me with a big smile. Fong Chun greeted me timidly, a shy smile on his face. Today was the day Fong Chun first came to our house. He was my aunt's son and had been living with my aunt and uncle in another province for years. I had never met him since I was born. My aunt and uncle were workers who died in an accident at a construction site, leaving Fong Chun behind. My parents couldn't bear to see him all alone, so they adopted him. In my previous life, from this day on, my life changed drastically. I lost the love and affection from my parents and was forced to give everything to this cousin I had never met. Toys, room, best friends, girlfriend. Whether it was people or things, he took them away from me one by one. In the end, I had nothing, not even my life, and my college entrance examination scores became my cousin's. Seeing that I didn't speak, Fong Chen's eyes immediately turned red, and he said with tears in his eyes, "Brother Xiaoning doesn't seem to like me. I should go. It's better than staying here and annoying people." My mother immediately hugged him with a heartache. "Chen Chun, don't go. Xiaoning is being insensible. Xiaoning, say hello." My dad scolded me. "Is this how you act as an older brother?" My sister also said, "Xiaoning, Chen Chun is a guest. Be polite to him. Don't disappoint me." They said exactly the same things as in the previous life. In my previous life, I was only 14 years old at this time. I didn't know how to control my emotions, and I was easily angered by him. I told him to stop pretending, but I was scolded by my parents. Afterwards, my cousin tried to coax me in a sarcastic way. I angrily kicked him out and was docked a month's allowance. After he came, my parents only favored him and would no longer care about my feelings. I didn't understand until I died why my parents didn't love me, but instead poured all their love on my cousin. Was it because his parents died and he was very pitiful? Was it because he was 3 months younger than me? Was it because he would cry? I was their biological son. Did they know that since Fong Chun came, I became the orphan whose parents died? Even with thousands of unreconciliations in my heart, at the moment of my death, they all vanished. These feelings I should not have asked for. In my previous life, I was so eager to get the love of my parents and sister that I was mentally drained and wasted a lot of time on meaningless things. This life, I don't want any of that biased love. I want to study hard, earn a good future for myself, save my life and grades, and leave this home as soon as possible. I put on a fake smile. "Chun Chun, hello." Fong Chun was a little surprised by my reaction, but he quickly calmed down. He looked around for a moment, and his eyes locked on the car model on the coffee table. He exclaimed, "That car is so cool. I've never had such a delicate model. It must be very expensive." Before anyone else could speak, I took 3 steps and 2 steps, walked to the coffee table, picked up the model, and threw it in his arms like trash. "It's yours." This model was a birthday gift from my father when I was a child. I loved it so much that I had to see it when I was doing homework, hug it when I was sleeping, and put it on the coffee table to accompany me when I was watching TV. In the previous life, Fong Chen also said that he liked it. He asked me for it. I didn't give it to him, so he cried and complained to my parents. My parents were very angry and educated me that as an older brother, I should let my younger brother have it. They snatched the model from my hand and gave it to him. For this, I was sad for a week, and every night I could only hug my pillow and secretly cry in bed. Now, I'm no longer so fragile. Doesn't he want it? Then get it to him. Anyway, I don't want to keep the gift from that biased dad anymore. Fong Chun casually held the model. "Thank you, brother." His expression indifferent, clearly not as thrilled as when he received it in his past life. Back then, after he'd used mom and dad to snatch it from me, he'd gushed with gratitude to them, saying he'd definitely cherish it, even giving the model several childish kisses. Mom and dad were delighted, praising him for being such a cute boy, while completely ignoring my indignation. This time, I personally gave it to him, yet he didn't seem to like it that much. Sure enough, this model was utterly dispensable to him. He just wanted to take something from me. Seeing me willingly hand over the toy, my dad was quite pleased. Now that's what a big brother should be like. Xiaoning, you've grown up, becoming more and more sensible. My sister also praised me. That's the way, Xiaoning, you haven't disappointed me. What they couldn't see, Fang Chen's gaze at me flickered with a sinister look. It was a gaze of jealousy and animosity. He even looked like he wanted to kill me. I couldn't help but recall the car accident from my past life. The overwhelming pain felt as if it had happened just a moment ago. My chest felt uncomfortable, and I excused myself to go do homework, turning back to my room. Dinner was exceptionally lavish, specially prepared by Mom and Dad to welcome Fang Chen, with nearly 30 dishes, enough to feed a dozen people. But Fang Chen was determined to make things difficult for me. Whatever dish I reached for, he'd tell Mom and Dad that he liked it. Mom and Dad fell for it every time, doting on him excessively, telling him to eat slowly and not choke, and even telling me to leave all his favorites for him. They said I ate these dishes often, so it wouldn't matter if I ate less, but Fang Chen had never had them, so he should get to eat them. But I don't get to eat these things normally either. I might get to eat them once a year, during New Year's Eve dinner. I wasn't hogging the dishes all to myself. It wouldn't have affected Fang Chen at all. In my past life, unable to stand Fang Chen's behavior, I deliberately took 2 extra pieces of my favorite cola chicken wings. Mom and Dad said I didn't know how to be considerate, and I ended up having a huge argument with them. The argument escalated until I was red in the face, and my furious father slapped me, telling me to get away from the table and that I wasn't allowed to eat. I refused to back down and went hungry for the entire night. I cried and hid in my room, watching through the crack in the door as Mom and Dad piled food onto his plate and my sister ladled soup for him. They laughed and chatted, as if they were the real family. Thinking of this, even though I had long decided to give up on my parents' love, my heart still ached with a sharp pain. I took a deep breath, forcefully suppressing the feeling of grievance. If they wouldn't let me eat, then I wouldn't. If I couldn't eat this, I'd reach for that, and if not that, then something else. Soon, more than half the dishes on the table became Fang Chen's favorites, and Mom and Dad wouldn't let me touch any of them. I just found it ridiculous. Fortunately, I had already tasted a bit of everything and was full. I put down my chopsticks. I'm done eating, you all enjoy. Then, I looked at Fang Chen. Since you like all of these, you should eat them all. Don't waste anything. After all, it's all for Mom and Dad's kindness. Fang Chen understood the hostility in my words and viciously stabbed his chopsticks into his rice. Back in my room, I could still hear Fang Chen's voice. Uncle, does Xiaoning really not like me? He seems to want me to stuff myself to death. My dad came to his senses, shaking his head. Sigh, Xiaoning, he's throwing a tantrum again. I praised him for nothing at noon. My mom put a chopstick full of food on his plate. Don't pay him any mind. Eat more, you're so thin. Fang Chen wiped his tears. Uncle, Annie, you're so good to me, just like family. Can I call you Mom and Dad from now on? I'll treat you like my own parents and take good care of you. My parents beamed. Of course you can. From now on, we're your real parents. I indifferently locked my door, shutting out the scene of their blissful harmony. From this day on, Fang Chen officially moved into our house and, bolstered by my parents' indulgence, began to compete with me for possessions, much like in our previous life. However, my mindset was completely different this time. He felt his room was too small and mine was larger, so he wanted to switch rooms with me. In our previous life, I vehemently refused, warning him not to even think about it, but I ultimately succumbed to the relentless pressure from my parents and sister. This time, I remained calm, making no fuss or showing any anger. I quietly packed my belongings and simply let him have a room. I had a game console that he didn't, and he wanted mine. In our previous life, I refused to give it to him, so he complained to my parents. In the end, the console was smashed by my father during an argument. Afterward, my father bought him a new one as compensation, but I received nothing. This time, I gave it to him directly. He immediately lost interest, treating the console like a mere model, tossing it under the bed and never touching it again. I fulfilled all his unreasonable demands, and he secretly called me a fool who didn't know how to fight for things. That's right, I simply wouldn't fight. I wanted him to feel like he was punching cotton. In this life, although I still gave up things without the accusations from my parents and sister, my days were much more peaceful. Their bias could no longer affect my mood for studying. When they praised me, I remained indifferent because I knew it only meant they liked me obeying them, liked me being on their side, not that they liked me, their own son. They only liked other people's children, just as Fong should only like my things. In comparison, they really did seem more like a family. I no longer yearned for even a shred of love, so no one could hurt me. As the start of the new semester approached, my parents took Fong Chun and me to the mall to buy school supplies. Although they said it was for both of us, it was really just for Fong Chun. I was just there to accompany them, a fact I was well aware of. The scenes from our shopping trip in the previous life were still vivid in my memory. Fong Chun wanted brand-name shoes, each pair costing over 1,000 yuan, and my parents bought him 3 pairs without hesitation. I just want a pair of thicker thermal pants, costing a little over 100 yuan, a mere fraction of the price of Fong Chen's shoes, but my parents refused to buy them for me. I patiently explained to them that the classroom was cold in winter, and wearing 4 or 5 layers of pants was uncomfortable and bulky. I just wanted a pair that I could wear alone inside my school uniform pants. After listening, they not only didn't buy them for me, but also scolded me. "You're just spoiled, getting more and more delicate. We didn't have thermal pants back in our day. We couldn't even afford wool pants, and our cotton-padded pants were made of worn-out cotton. Everyone had to wear many layers, and now you're saying it's uncomfortable, complaining about this and that. You've definitely been living the good life for too long." Fong Chen gave me a provocative smile, and I lowered my head, not daring to ask for anything more. Later, he bought a new backpack for several hundred yuan. It was not only stylish and felt good, but it was also multifunctional with features for drinking water, charging, and many compartments. I was filled with envy. I remembered that my father had promised to get me a new backpack for the new year, so I reminded him softly, "Your backpack isn't broken, it's still clean. You've only used it for a short time. Why buy a new one? It's a waste. We're buying your brother a backpack because he doesn't have one. You have one, so why buy another?" Unsurprisingly, he didn't buy it for me. After a whole day of shopping, they spent 4,000 to 5,000 yuan on Fong Chun and not a penny on me. Now, I've learned my lesson and didn't ask them for anything. Parents buy things for their children because they love them. When that love is completely gone, the child gets nothing they want. It's better to rely on oneself than to hope for parental love. Relying on my parents' love, Fong Chun still got his shoes and backpack. And I, with the few hundred yuan I earned from part-time jobs during the winter break, bought the thermal pants and backpack I had been longing for. What I want, I will get myself. I no longer need anyone. When junior high school started, Fong Chun transferred to my school and my class. My parents told me to take good care of him and not let him get bullied. In my past life, no one bullied him at all. Instead, he stole my best friend, badmouthed me, and incited our classmates to bully me together. The reason was ridiculous, simply because I was desk mates with his dream girl. This life, I only want to study, get into a good high school and university, and I don't want to cause any unnecessary trouble. Therefore, when the teacher asked me to sit with that girl, I refused under the pretext of wanting to sit with a student who had good grades, and I switched to a top-performing male desk mate. My male desk mate was the type who paid no attention to anything outside of studies, which suited me perfectly. We buried ourselves in our studies, helped each other, and soon occupied the first and second positions in our grade. Fong Chun still pulled my best friend aside to gossip and spread rumors, getting the whole class to laugh at me. In my past life, my grades were average, and the teacher turned a blind eye. This time, I told the teacher about it, and the teacher unconditionally believed the top student. Without needing evidence or confirmation, she directly warned the students not to affect my studies, or they would face serious consequences or even expulsion. I used to resent this teacher, but now I should actually thank her. The success of this matter made me fully realize that as long as I study hard, things will really go smoothly, and I will get everything I want. I spent the entire third year of junior high buried in my studies, seizing every moment to learn and do practice problems, reaching a level where I could almost get into a top high school with my eyes closed. As for Fong Chun, he slept in class, played basketball after class, and spent his time at home either reading comics or playing video games, not taking his study seriously at all. As the high school entrance examination approached, my parents became anxious, asking me to help him more with his studies. I found a weekend, sacrificed a precious afternoon and went through a set of exam papers full of key question types for him. But he turned around and told my parents that I was unwilling to teach him, but my attitude towards him was terrible and that I kept calling him stupid. He wiped his tears, playing his trump card. I try so hard every day to please Brother Xiaoning, but he still doesn't like me. Once it was because I didn't do well enough, and I always end up annoying people. In that case, I might as well go back to the orphanage. At least the older kids there won't scold me all day for being an idiot. My parents were heartbroken, hugging and coaxing him, and they even scolded me, saying I was heartless, selfish, and didn't care about my brother's future. I got tired of listening, locked myself in my room, and let them shout and scream outside. In the evening, my sister, in order to comfort him, made an exception and invited him into her room to watch a movie. From childhood to adulthood, she never let me into her room and never played with me. Now, she not only invited him in, but also played video games with him, ate fried chicken, and drank cola. My own sister had completely become his sister. Luckily, I was already used to it. After all, my sister in my past life was even worse. To vent her anger for Fong Chun, she slapped me twice, pushed me to the ground, and unilaterally severed ties with me. My parents hoped that Fong Chun would get into a good high school, and since I was unwilling to teach him, they had to spend a lot of money to send him to a pre-exam cram school. They kept saying that it was all because of my selfishness that they had to spend so much extra money. In my past life, my grades weren't great, and I also wanted to enroll in this cram school before the exam. They just thought it was useless, saying that my level was what it was, and no matter how much I improved, I wouldn't get much better. After Fong Chun joined the cram school, he still didn't study. The management there was even less strict than at school. He spent his days scrolling through short videos, and his grades regressed instead of improving. The high school entrance examination arrived as scheduled. With the highest score in the city, I was admitted to the top high school I had dreamed of. As for Fong Chun, he didn't even qualify for an ordinary high school. The day the high school entrance exam results came out, before our parents even had a chance to ask, Fong Chun started sobbing. "I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I'm useless. I'm too stupid. I've let down Mom and Dad's efforts. I've let down their expectations. I'm just not as naturally smart as my brother. I've embarrassed Mom and Dad. Someone as useless as me really doesn't deserve to be Mom and Dad's son along with my brother. I'll just leave. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for taking care of me all this time. If I have another chance in the future, I will definitely repay your kindness." He rattled all this off like a tongue twister. It made my head spin. Our parents, afraid he'd actually leave, quickly comforted him. "It's okay. Chun Chun, the results don't matter, as long as you tried your best." Fong Chun wiped his tears and gave me a victorious smile. Last time around, Fong Chun had gotten roughly the same score, while I had tested into a regular high school. Fong Chun looked down on vocational schools and technical colleges. He insisted on competing with me, and in the end, our parents spent tens of thousands of yuan to get him into my high school. This time, I was the top scorer, and Fong Chun still wanted to compete with me. If he couldn't measure up, he'd cry and make a scene about going to an orphanage to be an unwanted wild child. In the end, he got our parents so worked up that they spent 200,000 yuan, pulled some strings, and talked to the principal to get him into the elite class of the top high school, which was my class. They even threatened the principal, saying that if Fong Chun wasn't admitted, they'd make me drop out. The principal, in order to keep me, his star student, made an exception and let him enroll under the guise of an art student. At first, I didn't know, until the rehearsal for the opening ceremony speech, when the principal gave me a subtle look and mentioned Fong Chun. I realized what had happened. I didn't want to be used as a means for Fong Chun's enrollment, and I certainly didn't want him to affect my normal high school life. I was furious and questioned my parents about why they did this, but they turned it around and blamed me. "Your grades are so good. You're the top scorer in the whole city. Can't you even help your brother a little? How did I give birth to such a selfish son? If your brother gets into a top high school, wouldn't that make you look good too? You're not half as good as Chun Chun. You're useless at everything except studying. We won't be able to rely on you in the future." I already knew they didn't love me, but this broke my heart once again. During the vacation before school started, I worked during the day and studied high school courses at night, so busy that I had no free time for anything else. Fang Chun, on the other hand, spent all his time hanging out with his shady friends, often coming home in the early hours of the morning. He also occasionally hung out with my sister and her friends. My sister often bragged to her friends that her brother was the top scorer in the high school entrance exam, deliberately misleading them, confusing the facts, so that her friends all thought Fang Chun was the top scorer. Fang Chun never corrected them, intentionally letting them misunderstand, enjoying the countless envious gazes. This whole family was rotten to the core. All I could do now was study hard and prepare for my future independence. This high school had a policy that the top-ranked students in the entrance exam received a scholarship every semester. Their tuition and fees were waived, and they also received 1,000 yuan per month in their meal cards. After my parents found out, they stopped giving me pocket money, thinking I had plenty of money and it was enough. Fang Chen's pocket money, on the other hand, increased by several hundred yuan. He used the money to show off to me, claiming that everything I had would eventually be his, whether it was money, parents, or life. I looked at him coldly. If you have the ability, then try. That night, he went to our parents and cried again. Dad, brother said I stole his money. Is that true? I'm sorry, I didn't know that getting pocket money came at this cost. In that case, I don't want any money, not a single penny. It can all go to brother. I was wrong. I shouldn't have taken brother's things. I should just leave. Otherwise, no matter what I get, brother will think I deliberately took it from him. To comfort him, our parents gave him another 1,000 yuan in pocket money. I watched them silently, smiled slightly, and played the recording of him bragging to me earlier. Fang Chen's face changed in an instant. Mom and Dad looked puzzled. Chun, this is... Fang Chun screamed like mad and pounced on me to snatch my phone. I raised my hand and slapped him hard across the face, the crisp sound echoing throughout the room. He was stunned at first, and then he roared hysterically. You damn beast, how dare you hit me? Do you want to die? Chun, my dad snapped at him. He realized that he had lost his composure and immediately returned to his pitiful appearance, explaining with tears in his eyes. My brother doesn't like that I can get pocket money, but he can't, so he forced me to say those things, recorded them to blackmail me, and made me give him half of the money every month, otherwise he would play it to Mom and Dad. I didn't expect my brother to lie to me. As soon as I gave him the money, he played it for you. I thought my brother just didn't like me a little bit, and I've been trying to please him, but I didn't expect him to dislike me so much that he wanted to make Mom and Dad misunderstand me. Ooh, it's all my fault. I'll leave now and never disturb your family of 3 again. As soon as my parents saw him crying, they would soften their hearts and turn to blame me. Why are you bullying your brother? Isn't it just because we didn't give you pocket money? You earn so much from your part-time job every month, and you have so many scholarships, and you have 1,000 yuan on your meal card. Do you still need us to give you money? Can you spend that much money in a month? Are you planning to use this money for something else? Drinking and clubbing? Or buying luxury goods? You're not learning anything good at such a young age, and you're not giving us any peace of mind. Okay, Chun, don't cry. If your brother bullies you again in the future, just tell Mom and Dad will stand up for you, okay? Fang Chen nodded aggrievedly. Okay, I understand. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I laughed out of anger. Who spends more money? Who drinks and goes clubbing? Who buys luxury goods? Who is the bully? Do you really have no idea in your hearts? I have always not cared, not resisted, but it does not mean that I will not care, will not resist. I just need to study, and I don't have time to bother with you. If you like him, just treat him like your own son. I won't disturb your happy family, and you shouldn't use my name to swindle and deceive people outside. After I turned and left, I could still hear their whispers. This child is really raised for nothing, and he dares to talk back to us. His wings are really hardened, and he doesn't treat us like parents. That's right. I wish Chun was my own son. He's so well-behaved and obedient. How nice. He can go wherever he wants. Anyway, I won't give him any money, no matter how much he acts up. It's all because he's disobedient. I close my eyes. Forget it, let it be. I shouldn't expect my parents to change for the better. After this incident, I moved out of the house. The school assigned me a single dormitory with a private bathroom, and I didn't have to go home on weekends and holidays. As an outstanding student, I was able to receive many preferential treatments. After school started, although Fang Chen was still a classmate, my life was much smoother because I was far away from my parents and sister. In addition, I was the key protection object of the principal, director, and teachers, so Fong Chun didn't dare to find fault with me at all. We acted like we didn't know each other, and the number of times we spoke was very few. Fong Chun and I looked alike, but because I wore black-rimmed glasses and Fong Chun dressed exquisitely and fashionably, we looked very different. Without saying, no one could tell that we were related by blood. In the eyes of our classmates, he was a rich young master with generous spending, and I was a bookworm who knew nothing but studying. My deskmate was called Chi-Mo, a lively and beautiful girl. Her high school entrance examination score was the second highest in the city, 1 point lower than mine. I buried myself in my studies all day and didn't communicate much with her. Even though she always told me jokes when she had nothing to do, I just found it boring and never laughed. Until one day, she suddenly asked me, "Fong Chun is your brother, right?" I remained outwardly calm. "Why do you ask?" She studied me for a moment, then simply said, "Just a feeling." I breathed a small sigh of relief internally, and with a stern face, I emphasized, "Well, your feeling is wrong." She smiled and said nothing further. Later, I found out what was going on. Fong Chun was pursuing her. The reason wasn't that he liked her, but because she had once spoken up for me. Since the start of the semester, Fong Chun hadn't dared to bully me openly, but he often slandered me behind my back to our classmates. Numerous rumors about me circulated around the school. They believed that I was Fong Chun's family's adopted son, kicked out by my parents for stealing money, and forced to live in the school dormitory. Fong Chun, enduring immense pressure, had entered the school only because he couldn't bear to be apart from me and wanted to repair our relationship. But I was supposedly so petty and unforgiving. The rumors spread and eventually reached my deskmate's ears. She didn't believe them and casually remarked, "Sounds like the cuckoo taking over the magpie's nest." Because of this one sentence, Fong Chun thought she liked me and started pursuing her. As expected, everything around me, he wanted to snatch away. In my previous life, Fong Chun and I were in the same high school, but not the same class. In my senior year, I had a girlfriend who was an excellent student and often helped me with my studies. We even planned to go to the same university. After Fong Chun found out, he frequently showered my girlfriend with attention and occasionally invited her out to eat. My girlfriend not only didn't refuse, but also seemed to enjoy the ambiguity. Many classmates joked that my girlfriend was lucky to have 2 boyfriends at the same time, and brothers at that. After the college entrance examination, my girlfriend completely became his girlfriend. When I died in a car accident, my girlfriend didn't attend my funeral, but instead went to his graduation celebration. After experiencing the events of my past life, I understood that women were unreliable and would change their minds once pursued by a handsome man. I figured my deskmate would be seduced away sooner or later. But surprisingly, she wasn't. She always seemed cheerful and easily fooled, but she turned out to be surprisingly perceptive. Fong Chun tried to flirt with her in front of me countless times, indirectly speaking ill of me, but she always rebuffed him with various bizarre reasons. For instance, once when my deskmate was nearby, Fong Chun came over and asked me, "Brother, Mom and Dad said they miss you. When are you coming back to see them? Don't be so willful, okay? They're your parents, after all. You shouldn't be so heartless. If you're unhappy with anything, I apologize. It's all my fault, I'm sorry. But don't take it out on Mom and Dad, okay?" My deskmate, unable to stand it any longer, sighed. These days, even the thief crying "stop thief" is so self-righteous. Fong Chun was so angry his face turned green, and he gave up on trying to win her over. I have to say, I was starting to see my deskmate in a new light. After that, I interacted with her more, and occasionally I would even laugh at her jokes. Once she suddenly said, "When you smile, you're much more handsome than Fong Chun." Her gaze was firm, her tone serious, and it scared me so much that I didn't dare to smile again for several weeks. When we were divided into arts and sciences in the second year of high school, Fong Chun's grades were too poor, so he went to study liberal arts and was no longer in the same class as me. My high school life became completely bright. I began to run for class cadre and successfully became the study committee member. My communication with my classmates also increased. The rumors collapsed on their own, and everyone understood that the gossip was false. My grades have been stable in the top 2 in the grade. The first place is either me or Chi-Mo, and has never been occupied by a third person. The school hoped that we could be the top scorers, and the teachers also hoped that Chimo and I could continue to help each other, so they never dared to separate our seats. We were desk mates for 3 years because of this. I knew she liked me, but I never responded to her, and even repeatedly made her give up. No one could affect my college entrance examination, especially a rival of equal strength. After she knew my idea of rejecting puppy love, she immediately changed her mind and began to ask me if we could fall in love after being admitted to the same university. I was helpless and could only answer her, "It depends on your performance." One year on New Year's Eve, the security guard who was supposed to be on duty was sick. In addition, I wanted to get some clothes that I didn't bring to school, so I went home. I knocked on the door, and my parents and sister had different expressions on their faces, obviously not welcoming me back. When I entered the door, I found that my room had long been turned into Fong Chen's study, and all my clothes had been sold to the recycling station by them. I smiled, said Happy New Year's Eve to them, and dragged my suitcase to stay in a hotel. I never went back home after that. That was Fong Chen's home, not mine. In the blink of an eye, 3 years of high school passed, and I finally became an adult. Chimo and I got the same score in the college entrance examination, tied for first place, and were admitted to Tsinghua University together. As for Fong Chen, he wanted to take the art examination route, but not only was his talent not good, but his cultural core scores were even worse than in his previous life. No school was willing to accept him at all. My parents were very anxious and once again set their sights on me. But my social attention was extremely high, and all major universities knew me, so they had no chance to do anything. They couldn't bear to see Fong Chen fail to get into university, so they found the principal again as my parents, hoping that Fong Chen could take advantage of my light and go to Tsinghua University with me. They also wanted to threaten the university principal as they threatened the high school principal. But the principal was solemn and unsmiling, and they didn't dare to threaten him. The principal contacted me, asked me to come forward to discuss, and expressed respect for my wishes. My parents and Fong Chen knelt down together, hoping that I could value family affection, not hold grudges, and finally give my brother a hand. I just told him indifferently, "I don't agree." I took the top scorer scholarship awarded by the school and rented an apartment far away from home. Chimo still pursued me relentlessly. She asked me out for dinner every day, asked me if she had performed well enough, and said that the college entrance examination was over, could she be my girlfriend? I was overwhelmed. I finally reluctantly agreed. Since my girlfriend in this life is better than in my previous life, I will trust love again. We dated, watched movies, and strolled the streets like other couples. I thought life would always be so peaceful and smooth. Until that day, when we were holding hands and crossing the road, a dilapidated truck ran a red light and roared towards us. The memory of being hit and flying came like a tide. My mind went blank, my body instantly stiffened, and I couldn't take a step. Chimo reacted very quickly and pulled me hard. I staggered and fell to the ground, scraping my knee, but fortunately, I brushed past the speeding vehicle. Chimo helped me up and asked me about my situation with concern. I looked at the rear of the car in the distance. I was sure it was the same car as in my previous life. But today's date is not the same day as my death date in my previous life. The location is not on the same street either. It can only mean that this car was coming for me. Someone wants me dead. Chimo and I arrived at the cafe and meticulously analyzed the situation. I didn't mention anything about my past life, and I spoke in disjointed sentences that would make any normal person think I was overthinking and talking nonsense. However, Chimo didn't question it. She simply followed my train of thought and continued the analysis. Eventually, we reached the same conclusion. Fong Chen wanted me dead. Following Chimo's suggestion, I contacted a private investigator to look into Fong Chen's recent activities. Soon, the truth came to light. The truck driver was a friend of Fong Chen's father, who is also my uncle. His name was Chun Xiang, and he had been skirting the edges of the law for years, involved in many shady dealings. Fong Chen promised him 50,000 yuan to run me over. The plan was that after hitting and killing me, he would abandon the truck at a junkyard and then smuggle himself to Southeast Asia. Fong Chen had found him a company there, promising he could make a fortune. Through the investigators' findings, we discovered that the company was a scam operation in northern Myanmar, a place of no return. After learning everything, my hands and feet turned cold, and my body trembled. I knew Fang Chun disliked me, but I never imagined that my death in my past life was also caused by him. Not only did he steal my belongings, but he also wanted me dead. Mo held my hand. The warmth from her palm comforted me greatly. For several days, she stayed by my side, helping me strategize. Before Xiang could attempt to hit me again, I contacted him and arranged a meeting. Xiang was suspicious of me and spoke rudely. I didn't say much, just showed him the information the investigator had gathered. Xiang thought he was being offered a well-paid job abroad, but in reality, Fang Chun was silencing him, selling him to human traffickers for 100,000 yuan. This way, Fang Chun not only got rid of me, the thorn in his side, but also made an extra 50,000 yuan. Once he understood everything, he tearfully thanked me. Although Chun Xiang had done bad things and was my murderer in my past life, he was actually a man of integrity who valued loyalty and gratitude. He agreed to help Fang Chun because my uncle had once saved his life. Now the tables had turned. I had saved his life, and Fang Chun had become the executioner trying to harm him. What he would do to Fang Chun after this was none of my business. All I could say was he reaped what he sowed. As school was about to start, my parents called, saying Fang Chun had disappeared and asking if I'd seen him. I scoffed and hung up. They only remembered to contact me when it involved Fang Chun. I didn't need parents like that. I blocked their number. Then, with my suitcase in one hand and Chimo's hand in the other, I embarked on my journey to Beijing. Neither my biased parents, my double-standard sister, nor my scheming cousin should be obstacles in my path. Awaiting me was a bright future full of possibilities. During our university years, Mo and I were the most envied couple on campus. Every semester, we both received full scholarships, spoke at assemblies as outstanding students, and won countless awards. Many classmates tried to pursue us, but we were steadfastly committed to each other, never betraying our bond. It was she who showed me that there was nothing wrong with believing in love. As long as you love the right person, every day is sunny. Later, I accidentally learned about Fang Chen's situation from relatives and classmates. He had been sold to northern Myanmar by Chan Xiang and was frequently abused. The scam gang squeezed his value dry while demanding ransom from my parents. My parents, worried sick, sold their house and car to raise money, borrowing from everywhere, even resorting to loan sharks. After spending millions, they finally managed to buy him back. Although he returned, he was ruined. He was missing a kidney. His body was covered in festering sores and maggots. One leg was broken, and he was completely deranged, hitting and biting anyone he saw. My parents spent a lot more money on his medical treatment and were constantly hounded by creditors. Once, desperate, they came to the university to find me, hoping I could help them. I transferred 300,000 yuan to them. Thank you for the first 14 years of raising me. This money is what I've saved from scholarships and part-time jobs over the years. This is all I have, there's no more. I hope that for the rest of your lives, you will leave me alone. I don't owe you anything anymore. They wept bitterly, knelt on the ground, kowtowed, and begged me to give them another chance, to let me be their son again. They even promised to abandon Fang Chun and only acknowledge me as their son. I never looked back. Back at the library, my chest felt heavy and tight. Mo sat beside me, quietly accompanying me. She held my hand. Don't think about it. It's all in the past. I looked at the birds flying in the distance. Yeah, it's all in the past. The end.